Yo, 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 yo. Yo, yo. What's good with this, the homie Mac? Music, art, culture, knowledge. Each one teach one piece of love. Reporting live from the Dogon. Yeah, I'm a little under the weather. I'm getting over the flu, fighting it. But this is a session of Mackin' with Mac. Book review series. Today I will be reviewing the book Up From Slavery by Booker T. Washington. Who is Booker T. Washington? I'll tell you. Booker T. Washington, born Booker Talafario Washington. May mispronounce his middle name. He was born in 1856. It's storming, so you guys can probably hear all the rain and the thunder. But he was born in 1856 in Halesford, Virginia. Died in 1915, but Booker T. Washington is noted as an education administrator, a civil rights activist, what have you. The man wore a lot of hats. An orator. Booker T. Washington was born a slave in Virginia. This man was a slave. Oh yeah, did I even point it out? Show you that book? Bam. Up From Slavery by Booker T. Washington. But yeah, that's a little background on Booker T. Washington. This book pretty much is an autobiographical account. There's a lot of social commentary, deep historical narrative. I think this is timeless. This book to me will always exist in the annals of American history. Not even just American history, but world history. Again, Booker T. Washington, he was born a slave. He didn't even know if Hampton Institute was a real school. It was rumored. He didn't even know for sure. But he had such a desire to learn. This man hitchhiked from Halesford, Virginia. I don't know exactly where that is in the state, but he hitchhiked from there to Hampton, Virginia, where Hampton Institute is. Upon his arrival, he had no, mind you, he didn't have no money. He didn't come from nothing. He literally was a slave. But he had such a desire to learn that he went out on a journey for his education. Again, not even knowing if, let me cut my phone off, or turn it down at least. Not even knowing if Hampton Institute was an actual school. He didn't have any money, he didn't have any food, he didn't have any resources really, outside the love of his family. But he didn't have anything like that was like tangibly resourceful, I guess, monetarily resourceful. Although you could argue you can't put a price tag on the love of a mother and your family. But anyway, he got to Hampton Institute. Eventually he gets there. Again, can't pay tuition, so pretty much they let him work. He works as a janitor, and I believe he even cooked some too, if my memory serves me correctly. But eventually, he bartered his time. He bartered his sweat equity to become educated in turn. Again, Booker T. Washington, another hat that he wore, he was an agriculturalist, and he was a tradesman. But it makes sense being that when we were enslaved as ADOS, American Descendants of Slavery, or some people say FBA, Foundational Black Americans, which people use them interchangeably, but basically lineage of transatlantic slave trade. The boat came to America there. Upon the peculiar institution, we became very skilled craftsmen, very skilled tradesmen. And they said at one point, it was noted that it was almost anomalous to see a white man that was good with his hands and handiwork. We were forced to learn these skill sets. We probably already had African ingenuity. We've already had a natural inclination towards skills and different gifts, skill sets. So naturally, I think we had a proclivity to be good at whatever we do, honestly. But yeah, we became tradesmen. So let me fast forward a little bit. Booker T. Washington, he founded Tuskegee Institute, Now, I will admit, I came into this book when I read this book in undergrad. I remember reading it and thinking, Booker T. Washington, bro, you sound like a coon. Coon. He seemed like, I felt like he had a lot of praise for white people. And I almost felt, I don't want to say he was kissing their ass, but he gave them a lot of grace. How about that? Some people felt like he was really passive in the sense of just not really calling white folks out like that. Like when he did his speech to the Atlanta Compromise, some people thought that it didn't really hold white people accountable, and it looked at white people as a resource that we need to use. Again, it was good. He was advocating for education, advocating for trades, us learning trades. Some would say that he actually advocated more for us to get trades than to actually go to college. But it made sense when you think about it. Like, this is post-Reconstruction, so what, like late 1800s, early 1900s, like a black man having a degree in history or a degree in fine arts. What would that really serve him in that time frame? Even now, what would it serve him? But actually having a trade, being a plumber, being a blacksmith, being a builder, being a brick mason, like those skill sets were applicable and you can make money doing so. He's really big on self-help, and some people felt like he was a coon in a sense because, you know, you always talk about self-help, we need to do for ourselves and help ourselves, but you don't hold these white folks accountable that put us in this hell. And in defense of Booker T. Washington, I try to keep in mind this is post-Reconstruction, black code laws exist, Jim Crow, all of these things are just rife in the South. There's no way that Booker T. Washington could bear arms and become like this Huey Newton figure and I guess be more confrontational against white people. He knew that we didn't have the resources. So he knew that, you know, it's better to make them an ally or at least find, you know, white people who are willing to donate towards our cause and develop trades, economic uplift, and eventually we can find our way. But he did say white people have to let us have the opportunity. He did say that. But let me read some things from this book. Let's see. Reconstruction was from 1867 to 1878. But here you go. The idea, this is Booker T. Washington again, obviously. The ideal, however, was too prevalent that as soon as one secured a little education in some unexplainable way, he would be free from most of the hardships of the world, and at any rate could live without manual labor. There was a further feeling that a knowledge, however little, of the Greek and Latin languages would make one a very superior human being, something bordering almost on the supernatural. I remember that the first colored man whom I saw who knew something about foreign languages impressed me at the time as being a man of all others to be envied. So it shows that he did value, you know, I guess, what's the term? He definitely valued education in the sense of being cultured. But I also knew he knew we would have to produce something. It's cool to be educated, but what are we producing? And that's why I think, and plus it made sense. We came out of slavery. We already were endowed with these skills. So naturally, let's use the skill sets we have to pull ourselves up. I feel like some people said he just thought, oh, we just shouldn't go to college at all. And that wasn't the case. I mean, that would make him a hypocrite. He went to college, went to Hampton. I also heard there's like a statue or a building, or both, dedicated to Booker T. Washington. I live in Southwest Atlanta. I don't live too far from Booker T. Washington High School. So his namesake, there's a school here in his namesake. Let me read some more. I knew that the average Indian felt himself above the white man. And of course, he felt himself far above the Negro, largely on account of the fact of the Negro having submitted to slavery. A thing which the Indian would never do. The Indians in the Indian Territory owned a large number of slaves during the days of slavery. A lot of people don't know that the Native Americans, Indians, they owned Africans. They owned enslaved Africans. Hold up. Aside from this, there was a general feeling that the attempt to educate and civilize the red men at Hampton would be a failure. The things that they disliked most, I think, were to have their long hair cut, to give up wearing their blankets, and to cease smoking. But no white American ever, I thought this was pretty deep for him to say this, but no white American ever thinks that any other race is wholly civilized until he wears the white man's clothes, eats the white man's food, speaks the white man's language, and professes the white man's religion. So yeah, I just think at the time, Booker T. Washington was just thinking, look, we have to use our skill sets, what we've been endowed with, what we know, and pull ourselves up from that angle. I don't think, again, that he was anti-intellectual, anti-education. Obviously he wasn't. But again, he knows we had again, agricultural skill sets. Let me read another thing. He also talks about, I guess you could say this is like the ethos of spirituality for a lot of Africans, enslaved Africans that were living on U.S. soil. He said they had sung those same verses before, but they had been careful to explain that the freedom in these songs referred to the next world and had no connection with life in this world. Now, they gradually threw off the mask and were not afraid to let it be known that the freedom in their songs, meant freedom of the body in this world. Again, I think this is an amazing book for a man to go from being a slave to being enslaved to becoming a headmaster at an institution of higher learning. Like, that's very inspiring. Even though he was aware that people would try to preclude him from doing the things that he wanted to do, he still stepped out on faith, and he still, got with like-minded people and made a way. Also with the help of God, he made a way. I mean, I think it was brilliant that some people thought this was kissing up the white people, but I understand the white people had the money and the resources, so he would get a choir. I believe they did this at Bethune-Cookman as well, but he would get a choir and they would sing to white philanthropists or white, well, economically endowed people, and they would get donations. I don't see that as problematic, but yeah, Up From Slavery. Get this book. It's a great read. I'm going to start doing more reviews on the older classics because I just see how a lot of people are trying to erase history or give revisionist history. So I don't want us to forget the classics. Up From Slavery. It's the homie Mac, man. Let me put it back. This is just a small part of my collection of books. I got another bookcase that's much bigger, actually. But yeah, the whole point of these Mac with Mac series is to spark intellectual thought, intellectual dialogue, get people really thinking about the world in which we live. Spark conversation again, discourse. Make you want to read. I am promulgating reading. That is a cornerstone. That was a cornerstone in my household. Salute to my parents for that. Love you, mama. Love you, dad. But yeah, Up From Slavery. Get your hands on it if you're not ready yet. I was, again, I'm gonna do another episode about Booker T. Washington, so I'll touch on that later. What I was gonna say later. But it's the homie Mac signing out from the Dogon. Each one teach one. Thumbs up, give me the likes. Thumbs up, give me the likes. Signing out from the Dogon. Each one teach one.